Okay guys, let's keep it real. Walking Dead Season 11 is absolute trash. This is not only the last season of The Walking Dead before the spin-offs, this is easily the worst season of The Walking Dead, and it's had some horrible seasons for a long time. I can give you 12 good reasons why The Walking Dead Season 11 is not good at all. Reason number 1. It's woke. Given that the show is an apocalypse, and it's about a bunch of random survivors who are trying to find a community for sanctuary from the walkers, you'd think the last thing they would talk about or do is wokeism. Yet, oh my god, the woke caught up to Walking Dead too. What is the only character who dies in Season 11? A bunch of Caucasian men. And who's the only intelligent, nice characters in Walking Dead Season 11? Black people. Because apparently in an apocalypse, black people become super intelligent, and then for some reason, the white people all become Nazis. Especially if they're men. And therefore, the white men get punished, they get killed off, they get eaten, they get beaten, and meanwhile, not one black character can even take a slap to the face. They're all praised, and even when they're being defiant assholes, because they're black, they're smart, and they get away with it. The apocalypse would not care what color you are, would not care what gender you are, would not care what sexuality you are. Do you know what it would care about? You dying. This is an apocalypse show. They're all getting screwed. They're all dying. That's what real Walking Dead's about. Everyone dies equally. 2. The cliche writing. I can't believe how many times I rolled my eyes on this season, because not only were there scenarios that were so predictable that they seem straight out of a Hollywood sitcom, they don't go against the grain or do anything shocking at all on this season. There is this one scene where Maggie is trying to sneak up behind this one Commonwealth soldier, and apparently there just so happens to be a magical knife right next to her. And of course, because she has years of combat training, and this one Commonwealth soldier is some idiot who's wandering off by himself, of course she can kill him with a knife. And he's an armed soldier. He looks straight out of fucking Star Wars. And apparently he's not strong enough to take on Maggie, who doesn't even have any armor and barely has a weapon. Because show. It's one of those scenarios where you'd think cartoon logic was applying here, because in cartoons you do have a bunch of illogical ways that the main characters always win. Again though, this is Walking Dead. It's an unforgiving show where people die no matter who they are. Whether they're main characters, side characters, new characters, they should all be a revolving door of cast members. Yet it's not. This season is full of cliche, predictable writing that's so unoriginal and so unrealistic. 3. Bad character arcs. The protagonists and the deuteragonists on this show, hardly any of them die. And not only is that annoying because you'd think it would go out with a bang or something, their characters are so stale and so flat, they feel like one-trick ponies. Every single one of them feel like one-trick ponies that have no other abilities. Daryl, he plays the lone wolf, who just doesn't care about anything. He doesn't have a care in the world. He's monotone, and he just wants to be by himself. How entertaining. Carol is still a whiny, bitchy crybaby who just cries all the goddamn time. She's still the stupid crybaby who no one wants to listen to. She's been crying since Season 1. Why do we just want to see her whine and complain all the way up until the last second? It's so obnoxious. Get over yourself. Maggie is still the confused loser with Stockholm Syndrome. I mean, for someone who had her husband beaten to death with barbed wire, you'd think she'd be way more hard and able to control herself. But no, because wokeism came in, she is some whininess, just like Carol, who needs a shoulder to cry on, who's weak and can't defend herself, and forgives people who she shouldn't be forgiving, i.e. Negan. Which brings us to Negan. He is a hollow shell prick of who he used to be. When he showed up, he was an intimidating monster who people actually cared to watch because he had value. Now, he's just this pathetic, sorry excuse of a man who's been emasculated. Everyone beats him up because he's Caucasian and male. Of course, his girlfriend is some black lady he found in the woods. Father Gabriel, he is still the shittiest, fakest pastor ever, and still one of the worst characters the show has ever had. They should have given him his comic book death when they had the chance. At least then it'd feel like he went out with a bang and actually had a character arc. But no, he's still a coward, he's still annoying, and he still has not done anything redeemable to make me like him by the end of the show. That is another example of just forced to stay in the show because they're a minority, and that is absolutely unnecessary, because in an apocalypse, none of that should matter. A human is a human, and if they're not a good survivor, kill them. Number 4. Lack of shock value. There is no shocking left turns or curveballs on this. Walking Dead used to be supremely good at killing off characters you did not expect would die in one way or another. We've had a few scenarios like that, like with Beth and her friend Noah, as well as Tyrese. Back in season 5, they knew how to actually shock the audience with these killed off characters who you thought would be around all the way until the end as well. This time, they are letting all the main characters get away with surviving, even in scenarios where they're not supposed to survive. They shoot into a whole crowd of people. All these white men dying left and right because no one cares about them. But guess who gets out just fine? The main cast. Because they magically just don't get hit by bullets, but everyone else does, because no one cares about them. When in reality, if this was a real show, The Walking Dead would have a bunch of people get killed, including the main cast, because they can't dodge bullets. They don't even have armor. 5. Bringing up the armor. The Commonwealth soldiers. What a fucking pathetic thing to bring into this show. You mean to tell me that a bunch of stormtroopers who have armor and a bunch of AR-15s and combat training can get ripped in half by walkers, can be easily killed with a bow and arrow to the leg, can be easily beaten to death by people who have no armor or protection, are that stupid that they can't see people coming from like 5 feet away? That they can't hear walkers coming from right behind them? Makes absolutely no sense at all. Not even in a way where they're getting killed left and right by trained professionals. No, they're getting killed by the main crew even if they don't have any defense. And even if the way they killed them is so bogus that it would never happen in real life. These guys are in the Commonwealth. They were trained by Mr. Lance Hornsby himself, who was a G. Probably the only good character this whole season was Hornsby. And he's the villain that they're making you hate, just because he's a white male, when he's the only fair, reasonable guy the entire show. Number 6, the time jumps. These time jumps are so convoluted and so messy, you don't know when the fuck this show takes place. 1 second, it's 6 weeks ago. Then it's 5 days later. Then it's 1 year later. Then it's 3 days, 3 minutes ago. Where does this take place? Is this current? Is this 50 years in the future? Is this 30 years in the past? Who the hell knows at this point when this show takes place? Number 7, the Miltons. Pamela deserved way more brutality than she got. She shot Judith, and on top of that, she's the one behind all of the bad juju that goes on at Commonwealth. She's the one who put Lance up to the position he was at. And yet her only punishment was being put in prison. If you're in an apocalypse, prison is a god-tier gift. Because you're safe, you get food, and you get visitors. How is that punishment? She was about to off herself for her irresponsibility right toward the end, and right when you think she might have a cool ending, it gets fucked. Because Maggie has a change of heart. Oh, I was gonna kill her, but now I suddenly feel like not killing her because I'm a good person. And I'm gonna shoot the walker that she was gonna kill herself with. The fact that that many people wanted to kill Pamela, and just because she's the woman, she's not allowed to be harmed or killed, is such bullshit. That many people want to kill her, she's gonna get sniped. Of course, her son, who's the dickhead white boy, because he's male and white, of course, he gets eaten by a walker and no one defends him. Number 8. There's too much screen time for lamos that just end up dying right after. What is the point of introducing us to a character if they have no value in the plot of the season? And then, if they're white, you're going to kill them off. And if they're black, you're going to shove them down our throats and patronize us with people that have no redeemable value. Especially Mr. Mercer over here. This dumb bastard has no room in this show. Him and his idiot girlfriend Max, who, by the way, is only relevant because Eugene simped over her. These two fucks don't have any relevance. Who cares about these two? They're just two Commonwealth morons that don't know how to do their jobs. I mean, literally, the only reason that the son of the Miltons dies is because Max exposes him for saying some shit about the Commonwealth. And he didn't even say anything all that shocking. He was just saying that the Commonwealth is corrupt, which it is. Why is that something he should die for? And he was about to say an actual genuine speech to show that he was improving and actually cares about the people. But no, of course, Max, because she's Black Lady, gets away with exposing him and fucking his life up. On top of that, dude, this Mercer guy, who cares about him? If he was white, he would have died the first instance we saw him. But no, he's black and he wears red, so he's fucking Mace Windu. Number 9, irrelevant to Rick. What is the point of showing flashbacks of Rick and his gang if it has nothing to do with where they are now? You have no chance of telling me that Rick has anything to do with the Commonwealth or the group. It has so little to do with where Rick was back in season 8 before he departed the show that you might as well not even bring him up toward the end because he has nothing to do with it. Number 10, this one is stupid. Walkers get intelligent again. This was clearly just meta narcissism written by the writers to reference season 1. This is one of those instances of like breaking the fourth wall where they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. We used to have the walkers that broke through walls, climbed walls, and threw rocks at people. Oh my god, we forgot all about that for 10 seasons. Let's bring it back right at the last second for no reason. If Robert Kirkman tells us that the reason that they get less intelligent as they go on is because of decaying, then this completely disproves his theory that he made about his own show. Why did they put this in here? This is just an homage to the old season, and that is it. Makes no sense. 11, the spin-offs. You know they're doing these spin-offs just for clout. There is no reason to continue on with this story. Daryl has driven his motorcycle away from the entire Commonwealth, and apparently he's supposed to ride into Paris? How is he going to get to Paris on a fucking motorcycle? Why would Maggie and Negan have a spin-off together? They should not be friends. Maggie should despise Negan. Just a season ago, he was trying to kill her. She wouldn't let him anywhere near her son. How did we get here? At this point, you guys are just really holding on to the last bit of love that this show has. And last, this is the biggest reason, number 12, it's not fun to watch. Not only is it unrealistic, not only did they clearly suck up to the woke community, not only are the characters worse than they've ever been, not only is the ending completely rushed and does not have any real understanding of what the hell's going on. It's not fun to watch for any of the original fans. Do you really think that people who started on season 1 of Rick waking up in a hospital are gonna praise you for whatever the hell you turned it into now? They were already mad you killed off Glenn. They were already mad you killed off Carl. And you expect them to think this is closure. That this is acceptable closure of a show. The ideas of this season are preposterous. They're unrealistic. They're unwarranted. And you can tell this was written by a woke feminazi lady. See, that's the problem with the woke community. They don't know how to make a good show. And they just ruined what was one of the best shows on AMC and now is one of the worst shows on AMC. See, giving into the woke community, you lose all sense of real writing. You lose all sense of creativity. You lose all sense of actual interesting arcs. You just don't know how to direct a good show once you've gone woke. And this proves it. In conclusion, season 11, Walking Dead, is terrible. Don't watch it. If you watch it, you'll be more angry than when you watched Velma. Screw that show.